Now, the first question I know on everybody's mind is going to be about the draft. I know that you were present for the draft when you were drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs. How did it feel when you were sitting there and you got that call from Toronto? Could you talk to me a little bit about how you were feeling during that?
Yeah, honestly, it was a day that I'll obviously never forget. You know, a lot of nerves kind of going into it, you know, not really knowing what was going to happen. And, you know, felt like the longest, I don't even know, maybe it was an hour that I was there, hour and a half. Like the longest hour I've ever felt in my life. But then, you know, once it finally went through and, you know, I found out that I was going to be, you know, picked by the Maple Leafs, it was something that I'll never forget. I've been a fan of the Leafs since I've been a kid, and, you know, to kind of, you know, get drafted by them, it's living out a childhood dream. So it's really exciting to see how it all kind of unfolded.
Now, did you and the family get up to anything after you got drafted? Like that night, did you guys go celebrate at all?
We didn't do anything too crazy. It was more kind of, you know, taking it in. I kind of hung out with my agents kind of that night, and then my parents, we went out for dinner, but nothing too crazy. Just kind of, you know, taking in that kind of moment, like you mentioned earlier. You know, pretty special moment for me and my family. So that was kind of all we kind of got up to that night.
Right. Now, of course, you know, you went to the rookie camp during the summer. How much more intense is, let's say, an NHL rookie camp compared to when you go to a basic OHL training camp? I don't mean basic OHL.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of differences, but there's also, you know, quite a few similarities. I think Troy tries to emulate kind of that pro kind of feel as much as he can here. Obviously, it's a little bit tougher with younger players, but, you know, through the training camp, like, there was a lot of similarities as well. I think just the biggest thing that kind of was different was just the pace, you know, how hard, how the execution, just everything was just that next level higher, a little bit better everywhere on the ice. Guys were bigger, stronger, faster.
Right.
I think that was kind of the biggest thing you kind of notice, you know, if you're watching it, and then especially being on the ice. It's just everybody's so dialed in, and every play is being made with high execution, and that's kind of the biggest kind of, I'd say, takeaway that you kind of see from that sort of training camps compared to like the OHL.
Was there any like advice that you were given during that rookie camp that you've brought back with you here to Kingston to probably give to some of the younger guys, or even some of the inexperienced players here on the team?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that was kind of the message that I kind of received on the way out was just, you know, every day trying to get a little bit better, because obviously everybody's goal is to, you know, try and play in the NHL one day, and you know, day to day, that's how you're going to get there, is the work you put in every day. And I think just the biggest thing was coming back and, you know, trying to set a standard of, you know, consistent work, because in the NHL everybody's a lot bigger and a lot faster, which was the biggest thing that I kind of noticed, is just, you know, they're just so much stronger, and that's the biggest gap between a lot of, you know, junior players and, you know, pro players. Is just everybody's a lot bigger and stronger. So I think the biggest thing is just bringing back, you know, consistent work ethic and trying to, you know, establish that here.
With the inexperienced and young guys that are coming in, they're probably going to be looking to you as, you know, probably a leader on this team. How do you feel that you're going to fit into a leadership role? Because I know that last season you had a lot of leaders on the team that you were behind. How do you plan to take that leadership role and plan to help these young or inexperienced guys along the way?
Yeah, I think that trying to kind of learn from guys that were leaders last year and even the year before that. Ludwinski, when he was here in my first year, he was really good. I found, you know, was always there for everybody, and was really good with the younger guys. So I think that was kind of one thing that I wanted to try and do similar to what he did. But then the same with Burns and, you know, Hazy, guys like that have been here, you know, just the day-to-day kind of work ethic that they put in every day. I think just kind of learning from those kind of previous leaders was kind of something that I've been trying to do to try and implement this year.
So last season you took off in a sense. So you took off last season and you had 51 points out of 67 games, as opposed to the year before where you only had the 13 points. What really was that big step for you that took your game to that next level?
I think it was just, you know, being a little bit more confident, and, you know, having that first year to kind of learn the league a little bit, you know, kind of see what works and what doesn't, because it's a lot different than minor hockey. I think that whole year was like just a learning experience for me, and I think going in my second year, I tried to use everything that I'd learned and, you know, where I was going to be successful, and that was going to be through my skating and my defensive kind of responsibility and breaking pucks out. So I think that was kind of something that I really wanted to dial in, and then offensively just be a little bit more confident with the puck. And I thought I did a decent job of that throughout the course of the year. I think could have done a little bit better as well, but ended up working out pretty well.